swear it's like this every time. What do I want to say? Okay, here we go. All right, welcome to episode, what is this going to be? 15 of Winsnotes, this new thing. And I have a special guest, IYRE, is here. We're going to talk about something. We haven't figured that out yet, but we'll get there. Before we get going, a couple housekeeping things.
Hello.
Hello, IYRE. You can say
Hello.
something. Yeah. Yeah, before we start, wherever this is going, make sure you check out the links and stuff in the description. Make sure you follow IYRE because he's way better to follow than I am or anyone else. So
That's
always keep up with what he's doing. And he's got a lot of new music coming out. We're going to talk about that and everything else. And then if you want to support the podcast, all those links are in the description. We're kind of doing like a lightning round right now, but that's because we want to talk about IYRE. IYRE, how have you been lately?
Yeah, it's a deep question right now.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was asked from me, maybe 1 year back, the answer would have been really simple: just making music and having fun.
Yeah.
But right now, it's a little bit difficult for me to. It's been a little bit difficult for me to wrap around the fact that our country is going through a really tough time financially. It's crazy, and it's been difficult to make music lately as well. It's been around 2 to 3 months that I haven't done anything musically at all. It's just that difficult because there's people obviously on the roads, myself included, protesting against the government that have put us in this position. It's not just the government, it's basically 70 years worth of mismanagement, stealing, thievery, and which has led to our country being in this position right now. We're officially broke, in case you are following the news. It's not even funny. I'm just hiding my pain with laughter.
I know. Oh yeah.
But it's really difficult right now. And I hope that we can get over this hump really soon. But to the foreseeable future, with what's been happening and the decisions that have been taken recently in the parliament, it's going to be a really rough ride, as I feel. And I'm honestly quite skeptical and scared about my future as well. I'm a pretty young person. I'm 30 years old as of now, and I have a lifetime to live and work towards achieving my goals and dreams and so on. It's not just for me as well. There's so much people that are in our country that live through this situation, and for some other people, it's not even funny. They don't even have an income to buy the essentials because the food prices have gone up and we've hit hyperinflation. The prices have gone up at least by 100%, and there's a fuel shortage. There's queues to get fuel, and there's daily power cuts, at least running for around like 4 to 5 hours. And there's necessities being not available as well, like medicine, for example. Most of the hospitals are going through a really tough time without medicine, and basically there's a huge backlog in terms of like the things that needs to be done for patients, whichever it is. Maybe it could be an operation or a simple procedure that has come into a state of having backlogs, which is really frustrating and sad to see. So yeah, it's a lot to take in right now, but I'm hopeful. I'm in good spirits. So let's see where this ends.
I mean, yeah, it is. It's like everything is. There's just so much always being thrown at you, and then I feel like us as like we're making like creative people, like making things, like it very much influences everything we do. So it's like I kind of can relate, as in like even seeing things that don't necessarily directly happen here, I'm still like seeing them, and that's like that's going on. I don't really want to make anything. I don't want to do anything, and I've kind of had like the same thing. Is almost like you just you don't want to, you don't feel like doing anything, even the thing you love doing, which is like for us definitely at least one thing is making music and stuff. But like
Yeah.
it's so, I don't know, tough to kind of be in a headspace, like a creative headspace, when you have the actual, like the real world around you. Not that music isn't real, but like the real like world around you is like it's just like you don't know, you're uncertain, and that's that's tough. Yeah, it really is like, yeah.
And not to mention, I mean, there's police brutality as well. People being abducted by the government
Man.
for speaking against the government. There were social media blackouts, and one person was actually shot and killed. So yeah, it's a lot right now, and I feel as if the government is trying their best to curb down the protests in
Mm,
whatever way they can, and they're spending money as well, money that could have been spent on essentials, medicine. There's people, Sri Lankans living outside of Sri Lanka, sending medicine. That shouldn't have been the case. It should have been the government that should be
mm,
providing the essentials for the people, and I feel as if they don't they don't care about us anymore. They just care about keeping the power and steal more from the people.
mm,
It's a lot to take, and our eyes were only opened because the electricity and the fuel was taken out of the equation, and the fact that the prices started going up. But there were people who has been fighting this fight for so long,
yeah.
and I, as a responsible citizen, feel as if it's my duty to open my voice and speak about this injustice to the entire world, basically. So thinking about these things and about the country and what I can do to help the situation has been a lot to take, and which is why I feel as if making music is feels as if a huge burden right now. It doesn't feel natural anymore. I
Hmm.
mean, it almost feels as if I'm trying to force something out,
Okay.
which is not what I want to do. Um, so yeah, it's a very weird situation, and hopefully, as a country, I feel as if we'll be able to get through this because we have so much talented people. We have so much talented young people working very hard in the country, and I feel as if it's time for the younger generations to really step up and clean the mess that the older generations have created for us.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. Like that's kind of what's going on here, and like with people, like we're watching of the Russian and Ukraine kind of conflict things going on. Like you clearly see the disconnect between like the older generation and then like people of our age. It's like,
Yeah,
and you see like what everyone's trying to do, but how like it's so difficult because everyone, in the older generation set up things in a way that you basically have to be old. Is a very simple way to put it, like old to make any kind of changes. And by the time you're there, it's
yeah,
like it's the boys club kind of idea, how it's they've always been
yeah,
there, they're always going to control everything. It's like, what do we do? And it's, man, like I honestly don't know either. And kind of what I was thinking of is like how you were saying that you want to like inform everyone else, right, and tell other things, because like
yeah,
I I don't really watch like news over here because it's terrible. It's terrible everywhere. But like even
yeah,
when you do, it's like we hear nothing about like what's going on in Sri Lanka, and barely hear anything about the Russia Ukraine thing, except what they want you to hear, that kind of thing.
yeah. That's
But
very true.
yeah, so it's been really cool to see like you just posting and telling things and just being really like forthcoming about what everything is going on, because no one really knows, because it's hard to get information when people are who like put out the information are just hiding it
Yeah,
or omitting
exactly.
it, leaving it out. So I
It's
feel
pretty
like,
much the
yeah.
same here as well. It's pretty much the same as well. Most of the media networks are being controlled by the government. So
Hmm.
basically, if you need correct information, it's basically through social media. You can't depend on any other media outlets because everybody's on government's pocket.
Mm.
So whichever organizing or whichever information that we require, we directly depend on social media because it's much faster and much accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really difficult to just depend on news sources for us to
Mm.
make clear of the picture, because the picture is distorted anyway according to what they want you to see. It's the case with the entire world basically. It's what they have decided to show you, that you only see on newspapers and
Right.
and on even in social media in some cases. Because I mean, from the things that I've seen that has happened in the USA, even social media is influenced by whoever controls the social media. It's not to that extent here in Sri Lanka, because
Mm.
obviously we use the same platforms that have been created by people from in US.
Mm.
So it's not easy for them to distort what has been happening around in social media, which is the only consolation that we have right now
Yeah.
for information. And even that, they tried to go for social media blockages and blackouts, but what happened actually backfired on them. So started using VPNs,
Yeah. Yeah.
and we started using hashtags asking our president to go home, and those hashtags started trending in different locations around the world, which backfired, and they immediately took out the blockage. So that's that basically.
And that's, and it's just such like an intense situation. Then I'm like,
Yeah.
so it's like saying that it's nice to see like you're finding kind of your way around it, which is like have, being very vocal and telling everyone, and then, within our like reach and our scene, like drum and bass, like everyone is kind of like on the same not playing field, but like if you want to know something, you can reach out to somebody somewhere, and then like you're very vocal, and then especially with like your music shooting up, that's like your platform is shooting up, so you have
Exactly.
more of an audience and like people to share things through and kind of tell your story and stuff like of where you're from and the things that are going on, and people are like just opening up, and not only does that like show all of us, who you are and where you're coming from, but it adds like a lot of story to I think your music and things. Like when you do like the UKF like mix on there and had the visuals and everything was very much like like that felt like really cool to see, because none of us have seen anything like that. And I know people like afterwards are like, let me go find out more about Sri Lanka and everywhere around that, especially after like your BSA like episode, which was like the most popular one. Which is like the most popular one too, because people love that.
I think Sagar would be really happy to hear that.
Yeah. It's like it was so cool to watch, and just like an hour and a half of you guys just like teaching everybody everything. It's like, why don't we know these things? And it's like, well, you literally have the young historians right here ready to tell us everything, which is really cool. So yeah, man, I know it's not like I can say anything, but it's just like I feel like I can loosely relate to like things, like stuff you're going to, and like just hang in there, other cliche kind of sounds. But I mean, you can only like human to human like do what we can, But
yeah, that's true.
On that, not to stay on that, but like, so how do you find yourself like trying to just take time away from that, like escape, like, because I know like music, DJing, creative things, it's like a good way to, not that you want to forget, but you just want to have that moment in the day where you're not stressed out about everything around you. So like, what do you find yourself doing now?
These days, of course, in terms of making music, not much, to be honest. Basically, me just revisiting all projects and trying to see what I can salvage and make out of. New ideas are a little bit hard to come by, and even then, if they're very dark and moody. Which is actually a mood that I'm open to pursue. But then again, I'm going to give it at least another week or so, so that I can maybe calm myself down
Oh yeah.
and properly sit down and start working on something. Till then, I'm just going to mess around the old projects that I've done and maybe trying to see if I can work something out. Been watching a lot of Animal Planet and Nat Geo Wild.
Nice. Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a huge nature freak as well. If you know me, I mean,
Mhm.
I go hiking and to all these mountains, and
Yeah, it looks
I
awesome. Yeah. Like
yeah
amazing. Like
very
looking.
yeah. I mean, I often go out of Colombo, the city,
Mm.
to find my space of peace and calm and quiet, and then go to somewhere exotic and have a bit of space to my own, which we were able to do towards last month. We had like the New Year holidays, so we spent the New Year holidays in Kandy, which is towards the hill country. So me and my wife were able to just travel around and then reset, and I had the opportunity to meet a few friends, played a few gigs with them, and that's basically how I was able to maybe at least momentarily escape from the situation. But I was very, I actually went to the protest sites as well quite often. I think about 6 to 7 times during last month we were at the protest sites protesting with the people,
Mm.
and we were part of a few organizational movements as well, trying to make things happen for the people as artists. There were a few specific protests that were done by the artists
Right.
as well, so we were part of a few protests that were going around as well. So it was mostly focused around the protests, but there were moments of escape thanks to a few friends as well.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, is there a big like I don't know how to put it, like creative kind of community where you are? Like musicians,
Yes,
artists. Oh nice.
yeah,
So how like
there is actually. There's a huge community,
mm,
and it's a very weird demography. To be honest, I don't even know if you will understand. Even in the sense of artists, it's quite broken down into small groups. It's not a collective per se.
right.
I mean, if you there's politics as well. That's another topic
Yeah.
of open for
Oh yeah.
discussion for another
Yeah.
day. So it's like a collection of separate groups of people, but at the end of the day, they just got together and did this massive protest. One day, starting from one location towards the main protest site. But right now, I feel as if people are really forgetting their pasts,
Mm.
and getting together to achieve a common objective, which is
Okay.
for us to progress with the current situation, and asking the president to go home and have a few amendments done to the constitution,
Mm.
so that there's protection for the people, and holding the politicians accountable for the money, and we're asking the politicians to be audited, because there has been uh, incidents where politicians have found guilty in terms of like money laundering,
Hmm.
and I think you may have heard that Uganda got blacklisted for money laundering.
Maybe. Yeah, I think
uh, so
yeah.
I'm pretty sure Sri Lanka has a lot to do with that.
Mm, man.
So yeah, so there's a lot going on, and we're just trying to get together and form a proper movement, and exert pressure on the authorities to do
Mm.
something. And the bright part is the BASL, which is the Bar Association of Sri Lanka, the lawyers
Okay.
have got together, and they have started representing the people, which hasn't happened for a long time. So they are with the people right now. They are fighting the good fight, just as us. So that's the turning point,
Mm.
as I felt, of these protests, because the lawyers were there for to back the people. So the people got to the streets without thinking twice, because if something happens, they're going to come and save you.
Okay.
So that's basically what happened in Sri Lanka as well.
And honestly, like with everything, like I wish like you and everyone the best. Just I hope like something positive, comes out of it. But yeah,
Fingers crossed.
time, yeah, for sure. Like it just time takes so much time. That's a terrible way to say that, but you know what I mean. Like things
Yeah.
just take forever, but there's always somebody, like you said, fighting the good fight. But just like kind of switch things to musically. So you just announced that you signed with Songs in the Key of Knife, which is not hospital, but it's next to hospital, as
Yes.
everyone always knows. Then you have your next EP coming out of Gold Fat. I feel like you have something all the time. Was a Focus, right? Was before that? It was a
Yeah, that
collab
was
with.
last year.
I was
That was last year. Yeah.
okay. I feel like there was
That
some
was
anyway.
towards the end of last year.
Okay. Yeah, but like so musically, you were busy for a while till things kind of like stopped. So how did linking with Songs in the Key of Knife go? Because I kind of know just like through talking and stuff, and like especially with My Kiss, like how things were kind of developing, but then it was like boom, oh, there's that. It's like yeah, there's your face on the social media, and it's like, oh, nice, he's
Yeah.
doing it. I
I
know
think
it's happening.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot has to be done with Goldfat,
Mhm.
because they gave me the opportunity and they groomed me properly to be where I am right now, and they are the drum and bass university for me, because drum and bass is a very alien genre to Sri Lanka.
Mhm.
Even in the case of me making drum and bass, there wasn't much space for me to understand the history
Right. Right.
and the people who have worked so hard to bring the genre to what it is today. So I needed that. I needed that ecosystem for me to be a proper producer, because
Yeah.
obviously that whole ecosystem and the storyline has to connect with each of us as producers, so that we can understand the type of music that we make, and the fact that, I mean, a simple example: why do we use an almond brake, and how did the almond brake became like this huge
Mhm.
phenomena? So all that had to be put into my system for me to be where I am right now. So that, of course, has a lot to do with Gold Fed, and I was a part of a community for the first time in my life, with a proper drum and bass community, and through them I got to know you quite closely as well, and then of course all the Gold Fed gang, starting from perspective to Shiva, the
Mhm.
oldest guy in
Yeah.
the gang. So,
Oh
so,
man, he's gonna hate
so
that.
he's the big brother of the
Mhm.
gang. I've been telling him
Yeah.
each and every time. So all that whole ecosystem, I think, provided so much value for me to be like a proper producer,
Mhm.
and it provided me a lot of friendship as well, because I did not know anybody from the scene when I submitted those tunes to Goldfat. I think the only producer that I knew was Andre, Human Nature.
Mhm.
Other than that, I didn't know anybody. So for them to take me in, and for them to groom me to be the producer that I'm right now, has a lot to speak of, as who they are as people as well.
Right.
They do it for the love. It's not for anything else. They do it purely for the love of drum and bass. And I'm really proud and happy to be a part of that whole journey of Goldfat being the label, being the label to reckon with
Right.
right now as well. And you, of course, I
Me.
think I've told
That's
you this story
anything.
about, I don't know, about 100 times or so by now. So how I found myself to Goldfat was
Yeah.
basically through your music.
Oh man, I'm
I think
sorry.
it was your first EP that you released with Goldfat.
Mm.
So
The
I heard the EP on YouTube, and immediately I looked for the label and the
mhm.
artist. So it was Winslow, and
Wow.
he's releasing this with Goldfat. So I kind of felt as if Goldfat would be like a nice choice for me to pitch in terms of like because they are into this whole experimental kind of a vibe, and they're open to any sort of experimentation that we are willing to do with drum and bass as well. So I kind of felt as if the vibes are matching, so I sent them a demo, and I think it was after about 3 months back I heard back from them. It was a very slow process.
They
and
take forever.
I was
Johnny
actually
takes forever.
I've actually given up hope. I think I've given up hope by then, and I was like, no, this is not going to work. And then, of course, I think it was Grant who messaged, and then he was like, yeah, this tune is solid, but I don't think it's the perfect fit for the label, but I'm going to pass this to Marissa, who runs Headspace,
right?
The big sister of the label,
oh yeah,
Big Sis. So she took it in, and then that was put on Headspace. And then I told the Grant that, hold on, that there's one more track. Would you please listen to this track as well? And then I sent him Fragments.
Yeah, that was like the tune.
That was basically my foot on the pedal. So that's basically how I ended up here. I don't even know how, but yeah, it's a while, right? But here we are.
Yeah, right. Like it feels so weird to like look back because like that's like we've talked about it. That's kind of the same thing that happened to me. Like I just
exactly
Johnny, like I swear he ghosted me for like so many years. But I mean, looking back, it's like
how
it wasn't
did you
worth
meet
it.
him?
Did I?
I've never heard the story. How did you meet him?
Same way, the internet, just like messaging him, just because it was like a couple years ago, like when I had first started kind of like seriously making drum and bass. That was like 2016. And you know, as soon as you make something, you're all hyped on it. So like, I need to send this to everybody. And it's not for everybody. Like none of those tracks were good enough. But so there's like so many like messages I still have that I just like, I found him on Facebook, sent him a message, found him on SoundCloud, sent him a message, 0 replies, just left me on red. And then one day out of nowhere, like 2-3 years later, he messages me on Twitter and is like, do you have any tunes? And I wasn't going to immediately be like, you know, you like ignored me for the past 2 years. I was just like, nope, here's some tunes. Here's like 3 tunes. One was like the early version of Snap Out of It, which was just like a 16-bar loop. And then Swing and Miss.
That was the first song I heard from you, Snap Out of It.
And then the second one was Swing and Miss. And then there was like a couple other ones. And Swing and Miss was just about done, other than the mix down was terrible. But it's still not all that good now. But yeah, he was just like, all right, we can work with these. And then Grant was like, jumped on it. I'm like, who's Mr. Porter? And he was just like, oh, yeah. So then it came with that. And then it was like, they were just like, oh, yeah, this 16-bar loop, just keep working on that. We like it. I was like, are you sure? And I swear, just like that weekend, I had off from like school. I did nothing but work on those tunes because that's all. I was just like, I got to do this. I got to get it. This is it. If I fail right now, nothing's ever going to happen, which is never really true. But you get caught up in that so fast.
Yeah.
And then I finished that. Yeah, I finished that. And then I was about to send them both tracks. Then that's around the time where I was just like, let's try doing vocals that I've never done before. So I spent a whole like Saturday because it was like one of those days where you just have like an idea and you can't, like in a dream or something, you're like, well, I'm gonna wake up now at 6 a.m. I'm just gonna work on this forever because you're just really like there. And somehow I made it happen. And they were like, yeah, whose vocal is this? And I was like, do you like it first? Like, if you like it, I'll tell you it's me. If you don't like it, I'm just gonna say it's a sample. And they're like, no, we really like it. I'm like, that's me. And then Marissa was like, oh, so you can sing too? I was like, no, not yet. No. I put plenty of effects and stuff so it sounded all right, but no. But yeah, I mean, and I was just like, well, I can't just take them off now. They've already heard the track. So I just let it go. And then honestly, that's the first thing that people started paying attention to is that EP. And then the next thing came around, like, it was just like, hey, just work on the next thing. Because Grant was still like, because I asked him, like, can I just send you some more tracks? And we try to put together another project. And you know how he kind of is. He's like, you know, we'll see how it is. If the track fits, whatever. And then I send it to
Yeah.
him. Yeah, now you have to play it cool. And then eventually like sent him a couple tunes, and Mumbles of Grace was in that one. And they're like, we want this one right now. Work on it. And
Mumbles is a hit.
that's the first one. That's the one. If I have to like pick a hit, or like the one that everyone knows,
That's the hit.
it's that tune, because that's when UKF started like sending me emails, and
Yeah.
that's when like they posted it, and like everyone just started like paying attention. And then like the same messages you were sending me, I was sending to Josh Siran. I was like, all right, I have all this attention. What do I do? And he's just like, chill
Yeah.
out, chill out, just chill out. Same thing I told you. I was like, just chill out. It's fine. Keep doing what you're doing. It's like, are you sure? Because they're like, everyone's asking me for tunes right now, and I don't know what to do. I don't know if I can follow up with this. Maybe I just got lucky. He's like, nah, just calm down. And then Johnny was like, yeah, you're fine. Just keep making tracks. And Grant was like, yeah, same thing. Keep making tunes. I mean, but like we get all caught up in our own heads about what we need to do. And everyone's just like, yeah, just relax, make the tune. We'll be fine. And then after that, it's
Yeah.
like all these things just like snowballed, same way that's like happening to you right now. And then here I am trying to come to terms with seeing myself on the hospital website. Like, is this real? Like, am I just going to wake up from this dream one day?
I think I was really, really excited and happy the day that you were announced. I think I shared the news with my wife as well, and I was like, "Look, he has made it." And she of course knows who you are as well, because I've been telling her about all the guys that have been around the scene. And yeah, it's been amazing, and it's been really inspirational to see you growing from strength to strength. And there's a lot of lessons that we as producers have to take from you as well. The work ethic, specifically the work ethic. I've never seen someone work as hard as much as you do. So yeah, the biggest lesson that I've learned from Winslow's journey is work ethic. Basically, when it comes to everything, basically making music, which is a priority, of course, and then merchandising, content creation, video content, audio content, just like this, just like what we're doing right now. It's done with so much of passion and a level of quality, constant quality as well. There's no drop in quality with what you do. That's the biggest lesson that I've learned so far. You need to put on work, and you need to put proper work into it. And that's the biggest lesson that I've learned from you. And me being a producer from Sri Lanka, just as isolated as we are right now from the scene, because obviously you from the US and me being from Sri Lanka, we are so close yet so far from the scene.
Right.
I think I've spoken about this with Alpha as well. The fact that we're living so much away from the real scene, sometimes it even feels, I don't even feel that it's real, because it's basically a system that we meet through the internet. It's not tangible for me.
Yeah.
To this day, everything is done through the net. So even then, to be so inspirational and being signed to the biggest label on planet Earth right now for drum and bass, it's been inspirational, man. So hats off to you, and I wish you all the best for everything that you do in the future. And hopefully, I would love to collaborate with you as well one day. So
anytime.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said you had like all those sketches earlier. I was like, you can just send those to me. And yeah, no, but I seriously like appreciate that. And like that's kind of like the whole point of doing any of this stuff. It's just like, because no one would ever say anything. It's just like, oh, this person is like comes out of nowhere and they're like the next big thing, or they do all this stuff, and it's like, how do they start? So like my plan from like the beginning is just to be like, let me show everybody just kind of what I'm doing as I do it, and like the things I'm learning on the way. Like there's no way I could have predicted like being on hospital, going to hospitality, all that stuff. Could have never done that, but I've always like worked towards that. And just to like to know, because we are so spread out. I mean, like there's there's drum and bass over here in the US, but like where I am, which is in the middle of everything else, like LA is all the way over here. That's like a 6-hour flight or a day and a half drive to go to LA or New York or something.
Yeah.
So I'm like still very isolated from everyone else. So like same thing, I didn't know anybody for years until becoming active on like SoundCloud and like basically the internet. And like first person I think I started talking to was like Josh Siren, and then it was Perspective. He like messaged me on Instagram one day, and then like 4 or 5 years later we're all like good friends, and we actually got to meet, which is I hope one day you do get to like go to the UK, and like it's gonna happen. It's a win kind of thing, because like
I mean, it's
yeah.
the dream.
Yeah,
It's a
but
dream.
when you get there, it very much is like, oh, okay, this is real. All these people I've been talking to on
I'll
the
probably end
internet
up
are real
crying.
people. I almost did. I did. I swear I
I'm pretty
teared.
sure I'm going to cry.
Like
It's not almost for me. I'm definitely going to cry.
yeah, I was just sitting there the entire time, like, seriously, like all this stuff is real. And then like it was one like peak point. I'm just like walking around hospitality, like the festival. I was like, all right, somebody thought about me enough to fly me all the way over here and then give me some more money on top of that to just wander around a field and then play a set for an hour. And I was losing my mind. Like it's like, to everyone who does it all the time, they're just like, yeah, this is a normal thing. For me, it's like I've never done anything like this. Like I don't know if I've ever felt like happier and more like fortunate and just grateful at any point than when they're like, all right, Winslow, 10 minutes, you about to go on stage. And I'm just like, okay, right now it's time to do it. I can't forget how to DJ. And like everyone, like Johnny's over here, like, yeah, you got it. Poland Bryson are like, yeah, go up there and kill it. And then like Chris Goss, head of hospitals up there. And I had just met London Electricity earlier in the day. And I'm just like, this is too weird. And so I know it's coming. It's coming for you for sure. Like you're just gonna land. You're gonna see that one person. You're gonna see like you're gonna see Grant in the distance. You're like, holy shit, he's real. And then he's gonna be the nicest guy.
I think even more than me getting a chance to play in the UK, I would definitely want to visit them.
Yeah,
visit the guys as friends, and hang around and hang out with them, and maybe have a drink or two, and talk to them in person, because for so long we've been communicating through the internet, and I want to meet all these people. And I've been telling Note as well, Richard and Kublai, all these guys from Manchester, and I'll be telling them if I ever come to the UK that I'm definitely going to visit them. And I was telling Josh as well, I think about a couple of days back, that I'm going to bring him the best tea from Sri Lanka if I visit UK.
Dude,
and I just wanted to ask, how did you meet him?
Did we meet? So that was SoundCloud. I think like 2017. He just like sent me a message because he heard one of the tunes I had posted, and then we were both, him and then Mike goes by Schologrim. You know him? You see or seen him in Discord? Yeah, like they did a collab that was on one of the Ledge compilations. You know, Ledge like the yeah. So we were all on that, and then that's kind of when we started talking and trading messages back and forth. And then at one point I got the idea to like start the Discord before it was BSA, like way back then. And then we all like really started talking and just like becoming friends in there. And that's how like that started, because it was me and Josh, Schologrim, Charlie Perspective, Hallow, who's from over here, and a couple more people, just like, but we just like hit it off. I don't know. It was around, I don't know what was going on, but it was just like Discord was a thing. And that was before everyone had their own Discord server.
Yeah.
And we just started like talking and like sharing all like these experiences and stuff, because we were all from everywhere and we were all trying to do the same thing, just like write music and get on our favorite labels, you know? So it was just like we were all just like, how do we do it? And everyone was just like, okay, try this, and then try this, and then try that, and then it built up into things. And then, you know, like Josh is, you know, changed to Siren. He's on Ram. Charlie was going Gold Fat as well, and all the things he was doing. And then, like, everyone was just kind of just like, okay, this is what we're doing. Like, this whole community and talking and kind of trying to build things up is working, because we're all like, just,
making moves.
yeah, just an hour, not like a year later, we're all exactly where we were talking about being a year ago. And that just came from, you know, the community aspect, just like talking to each other and like sharing experiences and telling everybody their snares are terrible, that kind of thing. But like, yeah. So then to actually like meet up in person in hospitality, because that's when we kind of did. It was weird. Like we were all so excited, but then all awkward. Like there's so many messages after the day was over, like, yeah, sorry I was so awkward, but it was cool to meet you though. I was like, don't worry about it, man. We had so much. It was just like, it was unreal. I don't know. So, but yeah, that's kind of how we met, like SoundCloud, when SoundCloud was still like relevant and not falling off the earth, you know? And all this, I don't want to say it to like jinx it, but I'm just saying from like experience, when I didn't think anything was happening, and then, oh, here I am. It's all happening for you, dude. I know so much else is going on, but like, keep that, like, for real, keep that in mind. Like, at least you have that, you know, coming. It's not like an if it's going to come, it's when, because like you work entirely too hard and you care entirely too much for nothing to happen, you know?
Yeah, I'm just going to let the future decide what's going to happen, but right now just going to write a bunch of tunes and see where it goes. I think in terms of like the direction that I've taken lately, I feel as if the styles are shifting a little bit towards like a darker and a moodier phase of drum and bass, and it's getting a little more techy as well. It's definitely rolling more than it used to be. So it's a weird place where I am right now in terms of like the taste in D&B. Hopefully, if the labels dig what I do, it'll happen. So we'll see where it goes. But right now with the Gold Fat EP, I think I've managed to like to create my own flavor of drum and bass, which at least took me about a good 1.5 years to develop. If you look at the previous releases that I did last year, and if you compare the ones that are forthcoming, there's a drastic difference in terms of like the sounds that I've incorporated. There's a lot of sound designing that is being involved. So it's getting techier, so we'll see how it goes. I might even end up being a neuro producer. Who knows?
Who knows? Yeah, I mean, you did. I mean, if you want to talk about it, you did have the iClown thing for a while, right?
Yeah.
And you were doing like neuro, and you were making like a lot of progress back then.
Yes, that I think the iClown release was back in 2012, and I wasn't making drum and bass back then. I was making dubstep.
Okay, yeah, that's what it was.
Was getting a little bit good at it as well. Was on EDM.com about a couple of times. And then in 2016, I think I got exposed to Pendulum. In 2014, if I'm not mistaken, about 4 years after they disbanded the first time. So got exposed to them on YouTube, and then I started experimenting with drum and bass. There was this track called Retaliation that was the first track that I did, and that got featured on EDM.com as well. So I kind of understood that I had a natural kind of a thing going on for drum and bass, because there's so much relation in terms of like the sounds that are being used and the production that relates to a lot of rock music and metal music. I often say this. I think drum and bass is kind of like the rock and the metal in electronic music. So that, I think that provided me with a chance to connect with the genre so fast that I did not even foresee when I started listening to Pendulum. So and I just started listening to a couple of artists as well. I think the first artist that I listened to after Pendulum was Noisia, if I'm not mistaken. Because towards the same years, Skrillex did a collab album with a metal band called Korn,
Yeah, I remember that.
um, the Path of Totality. So in that album, additionally they had acts like Noisia, 12 Planet, Kill the Noise, Feed Me was there. So I really liked the track that did with Noisia. So I started googling about Noisia, and then an entire world crumbled on
Open.
top of
Yep.
my head.
Yep.
Yeah. So I was exposed to the neuro scene suddenly, and it was very relatable because I'm from a metal rock background as well. So the sound related to me instantly, and I started making neuro tunes. Um, I was getting good at it, but I felt as if I wasn't there where I wanted to be in terms of like the production quality,
Mhm.
and in terms of like organizing the structure of the
Right.
song as well. So kind of felt as if there's so much to be done, and I tried pitching to labels as well, and I felt as if my alias may have been like a hindrance towards them signing me, because obviously branding is a huge part of making music,
Yeah.
and you need to market yourself properly. It's not just it's not just a product that you're going to offer. It's basically the entire package of you as an artist, and branding is a huge part of it, which obviously you know as well.
I was like, he's been listening. No, I'm just kidding.
Exactly.
No,
I
but
mean, if there's one person that knows about branding as much as I do, it's you.
man.
So obviously that aspect came into picture as well, which is why I was forced to create another alias, so that I can start from scratch and properly pitch myself to
Mm.
labels. And by that time, I had met Andre as well, a Human Nature, and we were talking about as well, and obviously me being part of Drum and Bass Academy, and there was that relationship that I had going on as well, and they of course helped me to like properly organize myself in terms of like structuring of the songs as well. And then I started basically to research about labels, and that's how I met you, your
Right.
music. So that was kind of like the gateway in terms of like how I came into
Mm.
the scene. It's very organic as well, but there's years of frustration of myself being rejected by labels.
Yeah.
At one point, I think I've cried myself to sleep because there was
Yeah.
rejection
I've,
from labels that I really wanted to work with, and most of the cases it's basically the songs haven't been at least being checked by these labels as well. It's basically being ignored from the system,
mm.
and the fact that I didn't have any connection, so basically I had to depend on the Dropbox links
Right.
that were available on websites, which rarely gets checked.
Oh man. Yeah. I
Yeah,
I hate. I'm so happy I don't have to send demos anymore. That's probably the best
exactly.
thing.
It's the same
Yeah.
as well. Holy shit.
Especially like, I mean, GoFat was the same way. Like once you have a couple of releases, they just like Johnny's just like, yeah, just send me
Yeah,
stuff. But
yeah.
so I mean, it happens to I know a lot of people. But are you starting to notice that like the labels that ignored you back then are starting to like reach out?
Yes,
Yep.
yes, most definitely. Yeah, but I mean, in all honesty, it's very flattering.
Hmm. Oh,
To
for
be
sure.
honest, I mean, for all these labels to come at you and ask for music, it's is really flattering. But then again, I think it kind of reassures that we are in the right path as well. And it gives us the freedom to be a little bit more picky in terms of where we want to pitch our music,
Yeah.
and it gives us freedom to basically be ourselves and to do what we do, and to decide where we want to release our
Right.
music, and to see what kind of value that these labels can provide to the music that we make as well, because obviously I mean labels are of different sizes, and
Hmm.
there's events stuck to certain labels which are really huge in the scene right
Yeah.
now. It's a lot to think about, and Yeah, but it's really flattering.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
mean, I
this,
enjoyed it
of
for the
course.
last few months. I've enjoyed it a lot.
It's just like you open your email when you wake up. It's like, oh, okay. So all these people email,
Yeah,
like on one hand, it's like you guys ignored me for so long. I don't know if I want to talk to you. And on the other hand, you're like, if you think about it, I wasn't all that good back then. My tracks weren't ready, but
yeah,
now they are.
most
So
definitely.
let's start fresh. But
Yes,
then you
yes,
meet Johnny and you're like, you ghosted me for 2 years and I don't know if I want to give you this tune that you're really begging me for. So you can like play that card. But it's just like
yeah,
it's just part of like the journey of things. Like no one really cares until someone tells them to care. Like so many people didn't pay
yeah,
attention to me, and for good reason. It's fine. But when like
yeah,
it was like Winslow Hospital, it's like, oh, now we got to pay attention. Even though I was the
yeah,
same person before I had the little hospital tagline.
yeah.
But that's just kind of part of the annoying
What it
game of
is
things. Yeah. Just like people need
exactly.
that cosign, which is, I mean, it's fine.
Yes,
It's not like I felt held back at any point, but things just, they happened at a good time when I was like ready.
yeah,
Because if, let's say,
yes,
hospital picked me up 3 years ago, I would have been dropped already because I was not ready. They were like, Winslow, we like
yeah,
you, but you're not ready for this, so we're just gonna cut all your releases and drop you off the face of the earth.
yeah,
So
yeah.
things work out when they do, and that's why I'm
Yeah,
like,
I feel
yeah,
it's the same. I feel the same as well. I mean, a couple of years or 3 years back, I wouldn't be ready. Or I wouldn't be the producer that I am right now as well,
yeah,
in terms of like the skill and and in terms of like basic things like structuring your songs
hmm
properly, arranging your projects. So most definitely, I can relate to what you're
hmm
saying as well. Being at the right place at the right time with the right product.
yeah, and like they'll like once you start like talking to people, and I hate putting like at this level and this level, but once you start like talking to like the more like established producers and then like the teams behind them and all that, like they'll let you know like you want to take your time because you don't want to jump too early, because like all of us would crumble if the first thing we ever made got picked up by the label we wanted it to get picked up by. Like I've sent so many demos to Ram, and of course they ignore me. I sound nothing like Ram, but if they would have picked that demo up and then put all that work together to put my track out, I probably would have got like flamed off the planet because no one would have liked it, no matter if Ram put it out or
Yeah,
not. And then they would like take a hit to their reputation. And then me and Josh wouldn't be friends because
exactly.
he would have hated me from the beginning. No, but yeah, so everything like timing just kind of works out. And this is like, I see like how things are going with you. I can see like how you're taking your time. Cause I remember like that first message, like, hey, Fat just hit me up. UKF is doing this thing. What do I do? I was like, just calm down. Just take your time. You're like, nope. I
Yeah,
gotta put 4 tracks out right now. I only have 2 weeks. I'm like, you can't do that though. It's like, but I have to. I have to do it right now. Yeah, we all are
yeah.
going through that, but that's why it's so
I think
like
I've
cool to
constantly messaged you. I
yeah.
think I constantly messaged you when Full Fat was
Yeah.
released
Yeah,
or
yeah.
about to get released because I was really stressing out.
Mhm.
And swear to God, those aren't animated emotions. I was really
Yeah.
stressing myself
Oh,
out because
yeah.
I've never experienced something like this. And UKF is, I don't know, it's
Huge,
the
right?
biggest platform for bass music in the whole wide world, and
Mhm.
they want to premiere one of your tracks. That it's difficult to take in
Mhm.
for a producer that's going to release the first song,
Yeah,
and
it was your first
obviously,
song
yeah,
ever. Just about.
exactly. So I just straight away came to your inbox and I was like, holy
Yeah.
shit, oh, this is happening. What do I do? And I think I messaged you, and I think I later messaged Perspective as well because you
Mhm.
told me
Yeah.
that he's in the same kind of a trajectory as well, so you might want to talk with him as well. So I messaged him as well, and you guys were really kind enough to calm me down
Yeah.
and and reassure, provide me some reassurance that it's
Mhm.
going to be all right. So yeah, that was a heart attack moment, I would say.
Mhm. Oh, sure. Like I know I stared at like when Johnny asked me for tunes that first time, I just stared at the message. I was like, I don't know what I can do. Same thing happened when UKF was like, we're trying to put something together for Pilot. You want to put something? And I was like, are you serious? And then the hospital message, I'm like, are you serious? Like, what am I supposed to do right now? But
I think you spoke
eventually
about.
figured out. Yeah.
I think you spoke about the moment that you got to know that hospital wants to sign. Was it London Electricity that that told you? How did that happen?
Yeah, he just like
walk me through it.
So we had been like I would like, it was a while where I would like post like stories or something, or like videos, or like just me playing the piano kind of thing. And it was a lot of like, I listened to a lot of his tunes, and he always has piano. So I'm just trying to like figure it out in like school back then. That's what it would have been, university. And he like messaged me back one day. He's like, this chord is actually this. And then we got to talking about like chords and stuff and bands. And then that kind of faded out. And then we would talk a couple, like every now and then he would just like say something. It's like, oh, I heard that tune. I put it on the hospital podcast. It's like really good stuff. And then kind of fade away. And then it's like that summer, the whole like Chris in Perspective hospital thing happened.
Yes.
Yeah, that whole thing. And like he like mentioned me in the video, then that was like another like launching point of everybody like, who is this American guy making music? And it still happens to this day. People think I'm British and I'm not. I'm like, nope, over here. I'm from over here. What do you mean? Like, just watch a video. I sound nothing like what you think I sound like. Anyway, but yeah. And then there's like a couple weeks after that, because we had still been talking like before then, just to I just want to make that clear, because everyone's like, oh, now they only care because that thing happened. But like, it was a very much an organic kind of thing. You could tell they were like feeling me out to see like what my headspace was, what I was trying to like working towards. And then a couple messages later, he just asked me, he's like, so this isn't an official offer, but would you feel at home on hospital? And I stared at that message for hours. Like, I was in the middle of like cleaning up, washing dishes at home and stuff. And I just like look at my phone. I'm like, there's no way this is real. There's no way. And then I took advantage of that time difference because it was already night. They wouldn't have seen it anyway. So I was like, I'm just going to wait till the morning. And then, you want to play it cool. It's like, yeah, hospital's all right. I could do that. But I'm just like, nah, don't do that. I was just more just like, I've always wanted, like, I've been working towards doing something with hospital. Even if I get like a track on a compilation, I would have been fine. Yeah. So I told him that. I was like, I've always been that. So it'd be cool. And I feel like I would like fit. He was like, yeah, cool. Well, I'll talk to you soon. And then like a month and a half later, I get a message out of the blue from Chris Goss asking to do the remix for Degs, his Letters from Degwa remix album. And he's like, yeah, we heard about some things. Johnny was talking about you and stuff, and we want to see if you want to remix this too. And I was like, well, yeah. I was like, yeah. Again, you got to play it cool. It's like, I think I could fit it in my school schedule. I didn't do anything for a week but work on that too. Because I was like, I gotta do this. It's another one of those like, if I don't do this, I'm going to give up and hide in a hole for the rest of my life. Yeah. Yes. But it happened, and they were like, it was so easy. Like, they're just like having a conversation. It's like, oh, you got this too? Cool. Work on this, fix this thing, and you're fine. We'll put it out on this day. And yeah. And from there, a couple more things happened, because before Tony sent me that message, I had already been talking to Solvent, Jack, and
I was
Joe.
Going to ask.
Yeah, Jack and Joe, and they like were already ready to like, all right, we're gonna put you on Solvent. We're gonna work for an EP, and then we'll see how that works out, and then maybe look at about like a contract, like for an album or something, because they had just signed Askell and Lair at that point.
Yeah,
which is sick. But then a week later, Tony messages me with that, like, do you want to be on hospital, basically message. And I was like, oh, what do I do? Because they just asked me and I want to say yes. But then I learned that they're all in the same building working together. So they all knew.
It's basically the same guys, same set of guys.
Yeah. So they're like, we talked again. It was like, well, we just heard that you're going to be doing stuff with Hospital. So we're just going to work on this one EP. Then, you know, good luck. That, well, not like that. They're
We'll
just
hand
like,
you over
yeah,
to the big guy.
yeah. And then they like our first like big meeting with Hospital. They're like, yeah, so we're like going to make sure you release have some releases to build up. So it organically looks like you join Hospital. So you have basically they're like, we'll come back to you in a couple months after you've had some releases. But me being me, I had everything set up already. Like I had
Yeah.
the 4-tracker, the Mad Flavors EP on Solvent. Then there was a Man in His Kettle on Pilot. There was the
Pilot, yes.
remix already, and then there was the Full Fat compilation was already scheduled.
Already
So I already
scheduled,
had like
yes.
the 4 or 5 releases they were talking about knocking out already.
Yeah.
So they're like, well, we can just start talking about label stuff now, if you want to. And I was like, you know,
Yeah.
maybe. No, I was just like, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. And then that's when that started. And then I remember the date because you can't forget it. February 8th is when I signed the contract after like a bunch of like lawyer back and forth. And then they were like disappeared for a month for like Christmas break and holiday and stuff. And then a year after that, it's like, or no, it's like the summer of whatever that year was. I don't remember because it all runs together. They're like, we're going to announce you. And then that's when I had the idea for the whole announcement video thing. Like, yeah, that was like all my idea. They had no idea what was going to happen. Then I sent it to them like the day before, and they were like, you know, this is really sick.
That was really,
so we're going to post it.
Really, yeah, it was very, what can I say, very classy.
Yeah,
in terms of like the way that you showed
it's kind of like
that you're getting signed. I thought actually it was like you guys getting together and creating this concept, but it's really wonderful to see that it was just you.
Yeah, that's like the one thing that attracted them, or I guess made me seem like worth getting to know and stuff, because I was already doing like all my own ideas and stuff, which
Yes.
I like still do,
Yes.
which is why I like try to stress about everyone just like do something, you know, other than the music, which is very like taboo to say, because the music is supposed to be the only thing that matters and blah blah blah, but that's not the case.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I was just like, I was bored, not bored. I had just moved like here because I was moving basically across the state for like a new job, and like I teach and stuff now.
Yeah.
But like the day after moving, I was like, it was morning. I was bored, but I had the idea. I'm just like, I started writing down notes, and then I recorded everything. And before like my girlfriend even woke up, it was like early, and I'm making all this noise, moving stuff around. Like, damn it, I didn't get this shot right. Let me do it again. And she's just like, or into the back room. Like, all right, give me just a little bit more time. And then I finished it, edited that day, sent it to them, and they posted it like a few days later. And then that was it. It's been so weird. But yeah,
But
like everything you
But
see
it's
is very
fun
much
though.
my idea. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's what I mean. Us being producers,
Mhm.
I guess that's kind of like the icing on the cake. I mean, to get signed to the labels that you looked up to
Yeah, it's
when you were starting, to be
right.
a part of that whole community and the ecosystem, and meeting your heroes
Yeah,
in
yeah,
person
man. That's serious.
would count a lot to ask for, and the fact that you have assurance that musically you're going in the right direction,
Mhm.
and to see that there's value to what you do as an artist, it speaks volumes. And I think in my case as well, I feel very humbled and really happy to make these small movements that I'm doing right now. And the fact that they welcomed me with open arms, and the fact that I'm from South Asia,
Yeah.
and this it's a very isolated location in terms of what's been happening around drum and bass. I mean, we've had good years towards 2007, 2008, 2009, and even during 2016, 17. But lately, feel as if there's a little dip in terms of what drum and bass has to offer in the region. But then again, I feel as if, I mean, guys like myself, there's Yukato who's constantly releasing on RAM. He's the next big thing, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
just 21. He's just 21. He's been on RAM compilations already. He's a neuro producer as well, but he's into all kinds of drum and bass, and I feel as if he's a producer to watch out for. This little kid from
Right.
Delhi. So he this that's Yukara from India, and there's a few Indian producers who are making amazing music right now, and I personally feel as if it's my obligation to shed some light to the entire region,
Hmm.
not just to Sri Lanka. Even with a few features that I've been receiving, I ensured that I mentioned their names so that people can go online and check the names out. And as a region, I feel as if there's so much that can be offered in terms of like electronic music. And even if you check out some of the Bollywood songs that are being released right now in the
Hmm.
movies, they are really top notch musically, very enriched, and there's so much talent. I mean, it's untapped talents
Yes. Yeah.
in our region. So there's a lot of room for drum and bass to grow in our region, specifically in India.
Hmm.
If you consider India as a hub, because there's people, I'll tell you. I mean, there's this massive following for each and every genre in India, because there's people.
Yeah.
There's a huge population, and even if the scene is a little bit secluded or small in terms of like the reach, there's definitely going to be people, because there's a huge population in the region.
Right.
So I feel as if drum and bass could be the next big thing, and I feel as if it's on an upward trajectory right now as well, with few other producers
Hmm.
popping out of the region, and the attention being diverted to the region as well, and Yukato was on UKV as well. He had an article, he had a
Oh yeah.
feature on UKV as well. So I feel as if it's a really interesting time to be a South Asian producer, and I feel as if it's our responsibility to keep this going on and start bridging the distance, hopefully to bring UK artists back
Hmm.
to South Asia, and maybe to bring the South Asian artists into the UK or wherever the drum and bass is being played. So it's a very interesting time, and I'm really enjoying it because I've been talking to all these guys, all these
Hmm.
promoters from India, the Sagar, there's a Junket crew from India, and Sohail Arora, and his level of work that he's been doing with the Crunk label,
Hmm.
or the Crunk culture. There's a set of event series that they're doing in India. So I feel as if it's a very interesting time for drum and bass in India, and it's very interesting to see how they incorporate drum and bass into the mainstream. It's not specified drum and bass nights that they have, but it's drum and bass, breakbeat, grime,
Okay. Right.
all
Right.
together. It's a package
Yeah.
of genres that they offer. So it's not just one genre that is being heard. So people get together, people come together to these events. So whoever that haven't heard drum and bass before gets exposed to drum and bass as well, and then they in return become fans of the genre, which is the case, as Sagar tells me as well, because they throw all these nights with multi genres getting together. So basically there's cross pollination of
Hmm.
genres and fans happening in India. It's very interesting. I mean, definitely something that maybe even us can take into account as well, to mix other genres with drum and
Yeah.
bass and gradually inject it to the mainstream system. Been trying to do it in Sri Lanka as well. Have a few things that have been lined up right now. Maybe towards end of this month or next month. I don't know in particular because of the current situation, but hopefully have plans to make something happen. At least to get uh, one or two guys to Sri Lanka, at least for a holiday. Let's see
Right.
how it goes.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, that's honestly, I kind of I feel like the same thing is kind of happening where I am, and I feel like kind of where we both are. Like as the emerging artists who are getting a lot of attention, and like we both, like kind of how you said, want to talk about, like, of course stuff is going on with us, but we want to talk about other people that we feel like should be coming on. And that's like why I like have the whole BSA thing, is just because like
Yeah.
it's I don't I'm not the kind of person that just wants to talk about me all the time. You know, and
It's the
there's nothing
same with
wrong with
me as
that, but
well.
somewhere like that. But like if I can help somebody else like get a little bit more attention or something, like I'm it's weird to like know that like I'm at a point where if I just share like a Spotify link on Instagram, the next day I get a message from that person's about the song, like my stats just shot up. I'm just like, I didn't think I could do that kind of thing, but like now I can. And like I know I don't have to talk about other people or use my platform for those things. You know how that goes, but like I want to, because I wish like I had somebody to do that for me when I was, you know, coming up, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
So now I'm at this point where it's like, oh, you're the new hot guy from the US making drum and bass. It's like, you're gonna save American drum and bass. I was like, hold on. I'm just trying to fix things. So I feel, do you like feel like you like get those kind of messages and stuff too? Where it's like, oh, IYRE, you are now the savior of Sri Lankan drum and bass. Like you have to do
Yeah.
this. And it's like, on one hand, no, but on the other hand, I'm gonna try to do as much as I can. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
You feel like that? You go through that a
Yeah.
little bit.
Exactly. It's basically something. Those two aspects has to come in hand in hand. And in terms of execution, it's a huge challenge as well.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I feel, because at the same time, as much as we need to take care of our own craft, we need to do something in return to the community that we are a part of as well,
Yeah.
because obviously we are products of that community as well. It's only right that we do something in return so that we can push the community forward, which is what I kind of focus in doing to our region as well. I mean, I haven't even met most of these guys, and then the people that I've spoken on the podcast on BSA Radio with Sagar, I've not met them, and I've not spoken with any of them, except I think with Pawan, who
Mm.
was very kind enough to
Oh wow, nice.
call me. Yeah, I properly
Oh
starstruck.
yeah, yeah. I
I
would.
didn't speak for at least 10 to 15 seconds, because yeah, that was that. Except for that moment, I've never spoken with any of these producers, but I felt as if I'm in debt to them, because they worked so hard to
Mhm.
bring what drum and bass is in our region,
Yeah.
what it is right now. So which is why I kind of gave you put the idea to your head. Basically, this is what we are going to do for BSA. We are going to shed some light to the region. We are going to speak about these artists, and we have this thing planned out. We sent you like a
That
Word
yeah, that was
document so
the
that
coolest
you
thing
can
too.
yeah. So that was a huge opportunity, and I want to thank you for giving us that opportunity, not for me,
Hmm.
for us,
Oh
for
yeah,
for us
yeah.
giving that opportunity to our region, that we can speak about all these great producers, started from Nitin Shoni to guys like Yukato,
Hmm.
who has just popped out of the scene. So it meant a lot for me and Sagar, and I felt proud of myself as I could shed some light to our region, and I hope BSA continues. I think BSA needs to continue.
Oh no, it will. Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
that's
No,
awesome.
we've
So
definitely
so
like taken a
basically,
break. Yeah,
exactly. So
yeah.
so so huge props to you again for getting us involved with BSA, and that actually opened my mindset and my eyes as well, because some of the acts that I wasn't actually very familiar as well, but because of this episode, I sat myself and I
Hmm.
did research about these artists. I read through the entire history of how this genre, or electronic music for that matter, was introduced to the region, and that actually opened my eyes to a lot of ideas and a lot of things that can be achieved as a collective. And I use the word collective because I
Hmm.
feel as if we have much more power in terms of may it could be events or whichever endeavor that we're going to try our hands at. But I feel as if there's so much power that lies in a collective. One person definitely can't make things happen, but if we
Right.
get together as a collective, as a community, I think there's so much bargaining power that we have with other with people who make decisions or
Mm.
who has the ability to make things happen in the scene. We've been speaking constantly about this topic. I think ever since we did with the episode, me and Sagar actively speaking with a few promoters as well, and there's a few ideas which are floating around right now. So we're going to try and make them happen at least by the end of this year. Definitely, a compilation album is in due. I think this is the first time that I'm talking about it
Dude,
openly, but we're trying to make
I was
something
gonna
happen.
ask about it too,
Uh,
about if you thought about
yeah.
doing one, because that'd be really
Yes.
cool.
So yeah. So basically, me, Sagar, and a few other guys are going to get together and going to like put out a compilation album which is going to shed some light. And it's not going to be just drum and bass as well. It's going to there's going to be other genres inside the album as well.
Mhm.
Maybe breakbeat, hip hop, grime,
Oh yeah.
um, and a bit of techno. If we can manage to get some techno from a few of the producers from Sri Lanka as well, because Sri Lanka has a very good underground scene. Uh, as much as there's not much happening in terms of drum and bass, there's a huge underground progressive scene in Sri Lanka, and most of the producers who are in this scene are being signed by big labels as well. And I feel as if it's a good opportunity for us to finally forget about genres and get together to a common cause. So that I'm really excited about that project as well. So we're going to speak through it and see where we land.
Okay, Matt, dude, that's answers a bunch of my questions because I was gonna ask like, what are you like if you're working on anything or something, just like kind of showcase, what's going on. That's really cool here. I mean, not like I have a ton of I don't know experience or connections or whatever, but if I can help, just like let me know
Yeah,
anytime. I tried that with
most definitely.
the Winslow and Friends compilation. That was so tough to put together. Not even the music, because I mean, no. Okay, first off, no one ever like treats deadlines like they're a serious thing. Everyone's
Yeah,
like weeks later, can I do a track now? It's like, whatever. But then there's all like the background like admin stuff you have to do. But then to actually see that everyone came together to put together a project, everyone contribute to like artwork and different designs and promo
yeah,
ideas, and to
yeah,
finally have that thing you can put out and like slap all of our names on, because it wasn't just about
yeah,
me. I just couldn't think of a better name for it because BSA didn't exist yet. But yeah, so like when you do it, I know it's going to be like just you and then Sagar. I know like you guys have all these ideas and you're going to really put it together in a way that will have like a huge impact.
yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm super excited just hearing you talk about it.
There's actually like I spoke to you before, the Junket crew and the
Mm,
Crunk crew as well. So we're trying to bring them together so that they can help in terms of like maybe an hour and the admin side of things as well, because they are properly engaged with the scene right
mm,
now, and they have connections with producers who are really talented. And in terms of Sri Lanka and in terms of making connectivities with Sri Lankan producers, I can definitely pitch in. So we're trying to make that definitely happen towards the end of the year, and I feel as if it's the right time for a South Asian compilation to come out, because
yeah,
there has been quite a few compilations that were released previously, but but I think Sri Lanka was not a part of that compilation as well. But now, since I'm there to make a few connectivities,
right, right.
maybe we can get a few Sri Lankan producers to be a part of it as well. We're trying to go for the regional regional other regional countries like Pakistan, Bangladesh, Vietnam, and maybe even China, because we
Mm,
have connections with China as well. Obviously, with Unchained being a label from China,
right.
and Daniel Power. So
Oh yeah,
he's the
Unchained.
label
Okay,
head
yeah,
of
yeah,
Unchained. So we're trying to make
yeah. He's really cool
something
guy.
happen with those guys as well. So we'll see how it goes. I need to speak with him. I
Mm.
hope he doesn't get surprised by hearing
No,
this from the
that's
podcast. But definitely, Dan is going to hit you up.
dude. I don't know if he listens. I mean, I haven't talked to him in a while, but yeah, he's definitely somebody I know that like very much like with his label, like showcase, certain pockets of and scenes and stuff around the world. And so like
Yes,
just linking up with that or even just getting like advice or something would be all like
yes,
that I know the project's gonna be like be fine. Yeah, like you guys are gonna
exactly.
it's gonna be a thing. And I'm just like, yeah, I helped.
Let's hope.
Yeah, yeah, man. But
Let's hope so. I mean, going to definitely wrap it up, but let's see how it goes.
yeah, for sure. You know what? I think we're gonna need a second episode at this point because I know we can just keep
I
going.
think so.
But
I think so.
um,
Yeah,
I'm just
and I can go on. I would say that.
yeah. I'm just just for now. Let's try it. We're gonna wrap this one up in a little bit. But
Yeah,
yeah, there's so much going on, and I know like we can just chat for hours. So let's just call this
definitely.
part one of this episode. And before we even go, what do you got coming up next? What do you want to talk about? What should we be looking out for?
Um, so in terms of like a release schedule, I
Hmm.
guess the Gold Fat EP would be next in line. So that's dropping on 27th.
Okay.
And later on, I have a collab EP with a relatively new producer, but he's really amazing, called Historia, with Celsius. So that's a two-tracker as well.
Okay.
And then I have a collab EP with Pixies coming up on Pilot. That's another two-tracker.
Wow. Okay.
And then there's one single which is supposed to come through Pilot, but the dates have not been confirmed yet. But I think it's going to come towards September.
Hmm.
I'm not going to mention the name of the project. I'm just going to
I know
let
you don't have to. Yeah.
UKF, yeah,
Yeah.
UKF do it. But yeah, hopefully that's kind of like the trajectory I have towards like release schedule also. But hoping to make as much as music I can
Mm.
and pitch to different places now
Yeah.
that I have access to certain avenues. So
Right.
I'm going to
Right.
try them out and see where I can go. And since the publishing kind of a background is with me right now, I'm going to try to maybe create some I don't know, maybe atmospheres or
Mm.
like movie kind of a thing. So
Yeah.
I'm actually contemplating of doing like a bundle of movie scores, and to see where I can lead with it as well. Because I really love doing intros for my songs as well. So
Mm.
might as well use that, and maybe what can I say? I think an average intro is about 1 minute in a drum
Mm.
and bass song.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically, let's see how I can make that 1 minute into like a 4 minute track.
Man. Okay. So that's why we gotta. I'm terrible at intros. So when we make a tune, you have to make the intro.
Yeah,
Yeah. But
yes.
yeah. So we're
What do
gonna.
you usually
Huh?
do? I mean, yeah, I think let's discuss that on the
Yeah.
next podcast.
We'll come
Hopefully.
back to that because
Yeah.
I hate making intros. And I used to be good at it, but we can talk about it some other time. But where can everybody, follow you, see what you're up to, keep track of the man that is IRE?
Yeah, I mean, I'm on Instagram,
Mm,
Facebook, but I think I'm very active on Instagram because
mm,
I that's basically where I make connectivity, speak with other producers, friends, basically being me,
mm.
just posting stupid stories of myself, selfies on at work,
Yeah,
all that
dude, me
hoopla. So
too. Me
that's
too.
basically exactly. So that's basically where I'm most active right now. So you can catch me up on Instagram. Just message me. I'm really happy to connect with all of you guys, and I'm trying my best to reply on time as well because there's a huge time difference
Hmm.
between me where I
Yeah.
live and in the other part of the world. So there might be a gap of maybe 2 or 3 hours, but hopefully yes.
Mm. Man, it's always a good time talking to you, man. I'm like really excited about everything that's like you're up to. Just kind of watching you going
And
from like the oh my god, what do I do to now I'm on songs in the key of knife and I'm doing these things and I have all this stuff. I was like, you figured out the game. I don't know what else
I
to tell you
think
anymore.
I think I told you this right before we wrap up. I think I had a lot of inspiration from your journey, and I think I followed most of the steps that you've taken as a producer,
Yeah.
and I'm not even scared to admit or shy to admit I followed Winslow religiously, and just I'm really proud and honored to be called one of your friends, and I'm really grateful for the opportunities that you've given, specifically with BSA, and the fact that I'm a part of your Discord community. I've met so many friends, and of course the shared love that we have for drum and bass. Hopefully, we get to connect somewhere in the world. Hopefully, one day,
Yeah.
and we'll have a drink
Yes,
when we
definitely.
meet.
We have to. Yeah. It's good. It's going to happen, man. But let's just call it. So this is I don't know, what did I say? It's episode 15 of Winsnows. It's been me and IYRE just hanging out with a chat. So yeah,
Yeah,
before we go.
this is
Yeah.
unplanned.
Yeah,
Unplanned.
unplanned, winging it. That's our style. Anyway,
Yeah, I think
yeah.
we spoke quite a few things. So yeah,
Yeah.
thanks
All
for
right.
listening.
So thanks for listening, everybody. Make sure you go follow IYRE. All the links in the description. If you want to follow somebody else after you follow IYRE, you can go follow me. All those things. We all have music coming out. I don't have anything till
Yep.
August at this point, summertime. So go listen to IYRE. Next EP's coming out. All the other things we talked about, and I will see you in the next episode. So later.